the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Network. We are live right here in Northbridge at NCTV 11, one of the greatest television facilities in the country. And I'm here, of course, with Jim. Jim,
Hey, how you doing
welcome
tonight?
back once again. Jim is a reoccurring. I don't call you a guest anymore. I think you're more of a co-host at this point.
I'll take it.
I think we might have to get him
Does
some.
that,
Yeah.
Does that come with a pay
Look,
raise?
you gotta.
Does
You
it come
gotta.
with a pay raise?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. You can
I'm
times
in.
the pay you get by 100.
All right, it's still good.
So we're here live, obviously, Constitution for Freedom at gmail.com, and the number 4 is what you want to use. It's right up there on your screen. Now, of course, you can call in 266-0990 in the 508 area code. Get you right in touch with us. There's always a lot going on. We've got all kinds of stuff here on the Freedom Network computer.
What's hot and heavy tonight, Gary?
A lot is going on, a lot to discuss. But anyway, if anybody has anything they want to discuss, as always, bring it. Bring it right out. Bring it. You know what I don't have, though? I don't have the phone.
Will we have to take a commercial break at some point for that phone?
Well, I mean, what if Barry wants it? What do we, I mean, we can't deny Barry. I won't do that.
See, that's because we were running late tonight, Gary, and we got
were.
in here during the opening. Had we come in
Yes.
here when we should have,
Yes. I
we
mean,
would have noticed the phone.
it
earlier.
harkens me back to my radio days, and I had that reputation where they would panic, and at first they would panic about it, but then
Right.
literally the news would be on, the guy would be doing the news, and at that time, literally he would end the news, do the open to the show, and get out,
Yeah.
and then I would sit down, and everybody was smoking in the studio, and the ashtray was full of cigarettes and, filterless
Oh,
Pall
we got
Malls.
a
There we
hand
go.
coming in. You
Here
must
we
have-
go.
There you go. Thank you.
There we go. Hopefully we don't have the volume on there. We'll see. We'll keep that like that. Do that. Sorry if I just whooshed everybody.
Oh, does that happen?
I don't know, but it might happen. It might happen. Let's start local, Jim.
Yep.
Let's start local. Right off the bat, imagine if I deleted all that. Huh?
That would be horrible.
Well, with my technical savvy, it's
I did
certainly...
see it get highlighted. I was like, oh.
Yeah, right. And that's why I try to keep it so you can see it as well. But there was a post on Facebook today that I did want to touch on locally that was about someone getting a petition together to stop a grow facility in Northbridge. They think that the footage may be too close to a child care facility and a place where kids hang out, which would be the area, I believe, and you certainly can correct me if I'm wrong, that they want to put this in is down where, where Osterman is, down in that
How they
grew
grew that whole area, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be down in there. So there was a little bit of debate as to whether it's supposed to be 500 feet away.
Somewhere further down the tracks, I guess.
Right. Was it? I think it might be on the other side of the tracks. I'm not sure, but it's down in that lot, which the debate was, is it the lot or is it the facility that abuts, to this?
Who owns that land?
I believe that's owned by them, by that Osterman
By the
group. I
Osterman
believe
group,
so,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
I'm sure someone will be very quick to correct me if I'm wrong on that. You're out there. You know the story. You know the land. Anyway.
Just say you don't know for sure, but you think it's
Don't
the
know for
Ostemans.
sure, but I think it's them. So anyway, they want to put this facility in there. This person thinks it's too close. They have a daycare, I believe, that is close by.
Right.
Maybe a 7-10 kid, something like that. A smaller,
Probably.
but yet a daycare.
Is it in that new facility that's been built over
No,
there
I
now?
don't think it is. I think it's in some abutting property around.
Okay.
Again, I don't have all the
Like
facts.
a home daycare, perhaps?
Yes, I believe it's something like that. And then, of course, the skate rink is right across the street, pretty much.
Yeah.
So should something like that go there? Now, then
Which I never knew was there, by the way.
I
Never knew the skate rink was there.
you never knew that was a
No, you told me one night.
yeah near
I'm like,
that
what
little
are you talking
field that they
about?
don't
Yeah.
use because of the bats.
Right.
Folks, email me. It's a long story. Anyway, the whole thing kind of went down this weird road of comments of people that wanted to sign the petition, not sign the petition. Of course, I support if the petition process exists, people should use it, have at it, and let it be what it will be, I guess.
Sure.
I didn't really love.
Just so you know, I looked for that post, and I think it's been removed.
I do believe it may have been removed as well. I'm getting emails now that it is a retail establishment. It is a retail establishment. Okay, so it's
So
a
the
retail
daycare is a
establishment.
retail place.
No,
that what you're
I
talking
think
about?
the pot facility
Oh,
is a
it's a-
retail.
oh, so
Is
it's
that
not
what
a
you're
grow.
saying to the emailer that just emailed me? It's not a grow facility. It's a retail space, so people will be
Really?
able to go
Okay.
in there and
Okay.
buy
Yeah.
marijuana. So this set off a whole flurry of comments. Now I'm going to be honest with you, Jim, and you know
fors
me.
and against.
I mean, you know, the fors and against. Some of the against were a little harsh. You're a little harsh, I think, to the poster.
What was the so the poster was for?
Poster was against
Oh, okay.
getting a petition to stop this.
Okay. So the fours
The
were
fours
beaten
were a
around.
little hostile.
Okay.
In some cases, I mean, I don't think they were that over the top. I think there was, it's a little sensitivity on both ends type of thing. But at the end of the day, they were a little hot. Now, and I commented on there. It's not there anymore. You can't see it. But I think we could have elevated the conversation a little bit in some cases. But at the same time, people are passionate about it. And I think where the anger comes from is that this town has voted on having both grow facilities and retail establishments
Right.
several times. Can I say several times? I mean,
Or it's passed. It's passed more than once.
It's passed a general vote, a statewide vote, a local vote, and then a town meeting vote, and then another. I mean, there's enough. We voted. It's over. If I voted no, I lost. I got to accept that at some
Sure.
point. You don't
Yep.
like Trump. He's the president. You lost. Accept it at some point. You don't like Obama. He won. You got to accept it at some point. At some
Right.
point, you just have to stop. But it was very interesting to read the comments. Some people had phenomenal points to make, and I don't know. I won't go after her personally or him. I don't remember if it was a him or her that posted it, but I won't go after them for their right to petition the government. Go ahead and go after it. But what you're doing is you're getting another vote on something that is overwhelmingly won. It's gonna win again. The people have spoken. I think at some point we just got to move on.
Well, that's just a philosophy, Gary. If I remember correctly, the people of this state voted down the seatbelt law over and over and over again, but yet it kept, for some reason, it went through.
Well, it went through because in the last time, which is interesting because I worked on that campaign with Chip Ford and Barbara Anderson, the late Barbara Anderson, Citizens for Limited Taxation.
I remember you talking
And
about
it went through on that one. We
On
lost
that
that.
right, but
Yeah,
how many
that last vote.
tries?
Oh,
did
they
it
kept
take?
trying. Yep, they wanted it. They wanted to end run around. They wanted, and then there was the petition drive was to, let's not make this or let this continue and happen. But this just seems to me that first of all, it's Plumber's Corner area. You
Yeah.
can buy booze. You can buy the paraphernalia for marijuana if you want to. You can buy cigarettes. You can buy all kinds of stuff. So I would say
So
that
you're saying any
they-
projected riffraff that might be in the area
they
was
are already
already
there.
in the area?
They're finding needles in that skate park now, today. I think that's a little bit more troubling to me
Yeah.
than the pot shop
Yeah.
would be for retail consumption, I guess. They can't consume it there. They would have to, I guess, buy it and then go if it's not a grow facility. But what's really funny is not funny, I guess, but when you look at and people bring up the other things, and then people bring up the fact that it's but I can't. He or she had commented, I can't fight existing businesses, but you can. You absolutely can. The same petition process you're using now, you could
Right.
try to rezone something differently to have to stop that. But it just seems to me that it's going to happen.
Yeah, listen, I would say that the majority.
And I know we don't necessarily agree
we don't,
on this
right, we
issue,
don't.
which I think is interesting.
We listen. For most of those people that voted for it and helped pass it,
Yeah.
do you think the large majority of them wouldn't want one next door to their home or down the street from their home? I mean, they want it, but do they necessarily want it near them? Sure,
it's
in town.
interesting. It's interesting.
In
you
town
should
is
bring
not
this up.
necessarily near
It's
you.
interesting. You should bring it up in full disclosure. The person that posted this is actually not opposed to having them. They just don't want one in their backyard.
There you go.
So,
And I didn't know
right.
that, but
Right.
I would
No,
argue,
really,
I
we
would
didn't
argue
talk
that I would
for
argue
30
that
seconds.
if I were for it, I still wouldn't want it right next to me. That's all.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you have a problem if there was a liquor store near you within 300 to 500 feet?
Maybe. I don't
You
know.
might.
Less of a problem.
Less of a
If I'm gonna be honest, but
Yeah.
I don't necessarily
Well,
think
I
I
always
want
count
one
on
right
that
next
for
to
you.
me.
The security at these things
Mm-hmm.
well outweighs. Let me put it this way: I've gone through we got someone on the
Yeah, go on the
phone, but
hotline.
I've gone through and researched some of the security in
Yeah.
these places. I've talked to some people that have been out to Leicester and other places, and this is a locked, closed door situation.
Yeah.
You don't get in with a fake ID. Kids don't get in. Doesn't happen.
Okay.
Just doesn't happen.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about. Well, let's get
Take the call,
Yeah,
and
let's
I have a
take the
comment
call.
on that too.
All right, hang on one second. Let's. Oh, wait a minute. I messed this up, Jim. Hang on. I think if I
Did you
do
hang
that,
up on them?
I don't think I did, but we're gonna find out right now. Good evening. You're on the Freedom Network. Yeah, I did. I must have
Call
hung
back.
up on him. See, that's the technological savvy of me.
Oh,
Try
try
it again.
It's-
I'm
it's
hearing
it.
we haven't. Wait, we have the person back. So I'm supposed to do this. Then I do this. And good evening. You're on the Freedom Network. Hello.
Hi, I was on hold for them.
Oh, well, you are now live.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, Gary, it's Pam.
Oh, it's Pam. All
Hi,
right,
Pam.
Pam. What do you got for us, Pam? Do you have any info on this?
I do have some info on it.
All right, go ahead.
One, I live in the area,
All right.
and they were talking about not having it in their backyard.
Yeah.
I literally wanted it across the street from my house in the bank building.
Okay.
So is this a retail facility or a grow facility? Just to
It's a retail facility.
okay, all right.
So people will be able to go in, purchase. Now, is this also a medical / recreational or just recreational?
I believe it's just recreational,
Okay.
but I've also been to Leicester and I've seen the security. It's even tighter than what they're saying.
All right. Yeah. Tell us about the security because
Yeah,
you'll,
go
you'll
ahead.
be good.
Tell us about
Yeah,
the
Tell us
security.
about the security. Pam.
It's hard watching this on TV.
Oh yeah, right.
Pam,
The,
you gotta
the,
turn-
the
you gotta-
delay. There's a
Hey,
delay.
I feel like I'm back in radio.
Right.
Please turn down your radio, ma'am. Just turn down the volume and you'll be fine. There is a little bit of a delay.
All right. So when you go to cultivate in Leicester,
Okay.
there's security outside, first of all, and they're directing you where you're going to park or whatever you're going to do. Then you get out of the car, and you're basically almost escorted to get in line.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show an ID. You get to the first door, and it's locked. There's a staff member there. You show your ID. You walk through that door to a second door where there is another staff member, and guess what you do? You show your ID. Then you wait in line inside. You get up to a person that's actually going to help you and give you your marijuana. You show your ID and sign a waiver form. Then when you leave, security is there to make sure that you're not sitting in your car using your marijuana. You need to leave the premises.
Okay.
I can see kids getting alcohol, far easier than getting marijuana.
Well, we know what happens. I mean, you go to a few establishments just with cigarettes, and they ask you
Exactly.
for your ID, and you say, well, why do you ID me today? You didn't yesterday. We got in trouble, and now we have to ID everybody. It happens.
That is not going to be able to happen with marijuana establishments.
So who's outside? Is it like an employee of the place? Is it a cop?
Yeah, there's staffed employees.
Okay.
So they go through a double or a triple check. I guess so. I couldn't say to my friend, "Yeah, I checked your ID. You can go in," because now you got to go through this person, and this person to actually get inside.
Right.
It's
Right.
easier to get into an adult dance club.
And what are you got to
Jim.
be? 21? You got your license has to show that you're 21.
21 years
So pretty
old,
much-
Pam?
And a resident. And
A resident
another
of the
thing,
town?
If you and a friend
Of
go,
the state, I
Oh,
think.
state. Okay.
Is it a resident
you
of the
have to
state?
produce your ID.
Is it a resident of the
Just one of
state,
you.
Pam? Pam, is it a resident of the state that you have to prove that you are?
I believe, but I'm not certain on that because I haven't looked at the law.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think that if somebody was visiting from Rhode Island, I do think that they could go in and buy it if they were 21. I think, but I'm not 100% sure either.
I'm not certain on that part. They may be able to, but again, I guess they're proving that they're a resident of Rhode Island.
Okay.
I mean, they scrutinize your license. They don't just quickly look at the date like a bar or a cigarette guy's going to do.
All right. So
You know what I
you're
mean?
for
Like I
this.
said,
You're
if
for
the two of
this.
You went,
I
you
take
both
it.
have to show your ID.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
get in with one ID.
So you're for this. You live in the area. There's somebody against it that's trying to get a petition together to block it. Do you know anything about this 500 feet? I mean, didn't the... Go ahead.
That was part of the bylaw for any marijuana establishment. It's just a standard like setback rule.
Okay.
There can be exceptions made for various different reasons.
Okay.
That's what zoning board of appeals is all about. That's where this is going, is to the zoning board of appeals.
Right,
Okay.
and that's now. Did I hear? And am I wrong? And maybe you don't know, and if you don't, that's fine. But did the police department in town not sign off on this?
The safety committee signed off on it, which includes a member from the police department.
Interesting.
So,
And I was told a few weeks ago that the chief of police said that location would work.
so that it is within the guidelines? So it's outside the 500 feet that it needs to be?
No, that's why they're asking for a variance.
Well,
Right,
well,
so
there,
that's
well,
why
there you
they
have
need
it.
a
So,
variance.
why can't you appease the people of the town that are against this by simply following the rules? Why do you have to break the rules? I mean, hey, let's start right out of the gate.
Well,
Let's start right out of the gate, getting a place inside the 500 feet. Let's show them. I mean, what is there a reason for that? Listen. I'm just a guy asking a question.
Go ahead, Pam. I have
Honestly,
plenty I want to
I'm
say.
not the petitioner, so I don't know for certain why
Yeah.
this location.
Yeah.
I just know that the planning board, the chief of police, and the safety committee all agree it is a good location.
Now, I may counter, if I may, just add a little bit of my opinion in here, which I always do, that if there is a process that exists to let's say to breach that 500 right foot
Breach.
spot,
I'd call
right?
it a breach, yeah.
It's a breach. You might need a wall, Jim. You might
Yeah.
need a wall to breach that 500-foot limit. There's a process there through zoning that they can do that. So if
Right.
the process exists, it must be written into the law that you can do this. So
Right.
then in
No.
reality, they're following the law. They're just maybe using the outside of the law, but they're still within
all
it.
right. So I'll
Okay.
You
go ahead. You
Pam.
go ahead, and I'll
go
discuss
ahead.
that with
Go
Gary
ahead.
afterwards.
Oh, geez,
Gary,
I'm in trouble.
you've seen my house.
Yes.
Let me give you an example of what the zoning board of appeals is for.
Okay.
You've seen my house.
Yeah.
You see how close I am to the street. I wanted to put that front porch on.
Yeah.
Because I already didn't have enough frontage. I think it's supposed to be 50 feet, and I only had 40.
Yeah.
I had to go before the zoning board of appeals,
Sure.
see if I could reduce my frontage to 30 feet to put my front porch on.
Okay.
That's the type of things you do with the zoning board.
Understood. I get that 100%.
So should she not be able to have a porch?
No. She should be able to go and try and get a porch.
All right. So that's, I guess, what this guy's trying to do, right? Is
Right.
to go and try
Right.
to get a
Right.
pot shop.
Okay. Right. But
you say
no.
potato, I say potato.
No. What I say is that 6 months ago, a year ago, or whatever, when it passed in this town,
Yeah.
it was sold to you as a bill of goods. Well, it's going to be 500 feet from any blah, 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 and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And here we are, a year
Debating,
later, getting the first
getting
one,
maybe into 300 feet. Right.
getting the
Yes.
first one in what was, I mean, 'cause, listen, if it was going to be 300 feet in the first place, then why didn't they try to sell it as 300 feet in the first place? And then what, are
know.
you worried that there would have been more people?
I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, it's a property area that is able to host it.
Right. But it's
I
not
think
inside the
that
guidelines, so go get your variance. I
So
get
then
it.
we need to get a variance.
I get
Because
it.
we can't put it here
Right.
unless we get a variance, right?
Very similar to the average cost.
No, I don't think that's
The
similar
average
to the
cost
average
to your
cost.
taxpayer
I don't think it's similar to the average cost, Jim, because
Because the town was selling you something, which wasn't quite what they were selling you.
well, I think that it's got to.
Basically,
Go ahead.
if they were building a new building for this,
Right.
they would build it back 500 feet.
Right. Understood.
Because it's an existing building that otherwise is ideal location for the business.
Otherwise
Just
than the
asking
footage.
for a variance of 150 feet
No, I
in
understand.
the setback requirement.
That's 350 feet.
So they're asking for a 150-foot variance, and they have an existing building. Is there property or area on this property that they could build a new facility that would back them off 150 feet? I guess that question has to be asked.
Honestly, that's way beyond me.
Yeah, me also. I don't know. All right, excellent. Well, there's some food for thought. I'll argue with Jim for a minute, but Pam, thank you so much for calling in and getting some of that set straight. All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank
All right,
you.
Pam. Thank you. And I got an email come in from very knowledgeable. I like to talk to Pam because she knows all these kind of ins and outs, and she's not afraid to mix it up a little bit. Let's see. We get an email. A lot of people who smoke recreational marijuana will probably be drinking also. It might not turn into a problem, but you never know. Well, I guess you never do know. You never know. But aren't the people drinking already a problem?
They are.
They are. And there's nowhere legally that they can go and smoke it except for their home. I do understand what you're saying. I definitely don't agree where it's a term of averages because nobody... I don't think there's an expectation that a zoning variance can't be challenged. I don't think that there's it's written into our laws that it can be challenged. I do hear your point, though, Jim. I'm not going to say I don't
Gary,
hear
it's
your
the
point.
first one
Yeah.
after this long struggle of approval. Right? There was a
Wait,
basis.
we gotta back it. There was no
a
long
basis.
struggle. I mean, the long struggle was the fact that the people that were against it, including members of our
Oh,
own government,
and I get that.
continued to push it in a way to get rid of it.
And I understand that.
But you're right. So maybe they're PO'd enough, but I don't think they're PO'd enough. I think a company came to the town, said, where do we have property? They looked around, they looked at property, they said, gee, this might work, this would be ideal, the facility exists, it's what we want, but Jesus, we're 150
Because it's a high traffic
feet short.
area. That's why it makes sense to
I
them.
would-
It's
I would
not,
probably think so.
I bet
Yeah.
you if I did a little research, I'd be able to find 2 or 3 easy that are inside,
Oh, yeah.
outside that 500 feet.
Probably outside that.
But
500
what
feet.
might not be right on the main road?
Might not be the best business decision. Yeah, might not be the best.
You
business
think that
decision.
people that want to go to
Or
these
maybe the
facilities
deal is
can't
better.
find it?
Maybe this deal is better. Actually, it's kind of hidden when you think about it. Way down off there, you got to come in, take that turn, go down and through there, and all the way down below. It's not like it's downtown. It's
No,
not
but-
like that.
But there'll be a nice sign
know
for
that
it, right?
shop
There'll be a nice
downtown
sign for it.
that. Oh, there should be a big, beautiful sign. I figure probably in the shape of a pot leaf. What the hell do I know? But I mean, at the end of the day, hang on. I got emails coming in. Oh, here we go. I am the owner of the business. Be happy to call in.
Go ahead.
Well,
call
I
it.
think you really ought to call in. I mean, call right on in. It's the beauty of. Oh yeah, that's fine. You're fine. She's fine. Michael, call in if you want to call in. We'll put you right through, and you can let us know about the. So I don't know. I don't know about all the intricacies, I guess, of the process, but I do know, as Pam stated, that there are, like she said with her porch. I want to build a porch. Well, you can't build a porch because you don't have X amount.
All right, no, I get it.
So she
And
goes
then you
and
go
she-
in front of
right.
the town and you
So
say,
your
right.
gripe is that they're the first shot out. So let me ask you a question. If this was the third one, would you care?
I don't know if I would. I wouldn't, but it sets a bad precedent first time out. That's my position right now, Gary.
All right, fair
I'll
enough.
dig into it a little deeper
You're,
and think about it a little more. But I
No,
don't think
you
we
go
need.
for
I don't
it.
think we need this right out of the gate. That's all.
There is already one approved. That's another one. So there is. But is that a grow or is that a? In any event, let me jump on the line here because if this is who we think it is, we can get right to the horse's mouth, so to speak. Good evening. You're on the Freedom Network.
Hi guys, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was watching the show. I just wanted to, the least I can do is call in and try to set the record straight a little bit.
Sure.
And answer any
Fantastic.
questions you guys have.
Yeah,
It
you
seems
go
like
ahead.
There's a lot of questions.
Yep. You go right ahead.
Sure, go ahead. But let's, obviously the first thing we want to do is make sure we're having as much full disclosure as we can. So
Right.
it's
So-
the least I can do.
So let me do this. Let me ask Jim's question first, right? Why does it have to come into town and go into a spot where we need to go and we need to go before zoning and we have to get an approval or an easement or whatever it may be? Couldn't you locate this somewhere else in town?
So that's a great question. So we started looking just as soon that we purposely picked this location and we're trying to cram our way in. So there are, if you go online right now, there's 18 properties publicly listed, commercial properties publicly listed in Northbridge.
Mm-hmm.
Of those, 17 of them aren't in the right zone because the town put in B1 as a business for operation for marijuana. They only did B2, B3, and industrial. So that knocks out 99% of buildings in the town. On top of that, that leaves one location left on Providence Road. And all that had it was a garage with no public parking, which would be an extreme security issue and parking issue, frankly. It would never pass through the zoning requirements for both the town and the state. So unfortunately, so I'm sure most people know that there is already approved. There's two businesses that can come in. One's already approved to move forward on the other side of town. So we looked at as many locations as we could, and as far as safety zoning requirements, that location is the best possible location that we can work with, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it fits all the other requirements that we need to look at, like zoning and security and parking, and all those things have to be taken into consideration as well. So yes, it is in the buffer zone. It's on the other side. On the other side of the train track and through the woods, there's a daycare facility. And then on the other side of the highway, there is a park. But that's why they had the variance process, just in case something like this happens, because of the extreme difficulty for owning a business of this nature in any town in the state right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about this whole security thing.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Tell me a little bit more about the security. What's the big to do about all the
Sure.
security?
You asked about that was the question?
Yeah, I just need to know a little bit more about this high security thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically a bank. It's all the same zoning requirements, if not more. We had to have surveillance on every single room where there's products, so that includes storage, the vault. You can only have one person per, vendor or client behind the counter.
Yeah.
So that's why there's kind of these long lines. So we needed an area that has large square footage because you can't have these massive lines, and you obviously don't want people hanging around outside, right?
Right. Yep.
So and then of course everything is key carded, so you have to go through the key card process. Every door has to have a key card access to and out of the building. And then of course you have to have 24. We'll have a guard 24 hours surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
We actually looked at the bank in town, but when the zoning came down, it didn't allow us to use that location because B1 excluded.
So it's interesting. So they rezoned everything so you can have one, but you can't
There was
have
nowhere
one
to have
unless
one.
you come back to us and beg us to have one.
Basically,
Jesus
it got
Christ.
so and
Come on,
I don't
Jimmy.
think it's the zoning board because I'm sure all the people at home are wondering. Someone can call in and say, "Oh well, I've done marijuana zoning in other states." No one's ever done this. This is brand new territory for everyone. So everyone's trying to figure it out. There's even more complications. Even as a property owner, you can't have large corporations can't actually rent to businesses like us because if they have federal subsidies or federal debt structuring, they would lose those debt structuring subsidies. So that's why you're seeing all these old buildings, private property managers. That's why you're not seeing them on and down. And you combine that with the zoning requirements, it's basically impossible for someone to come in and operate a business in the town. Now,
Right.
no one knew that when they started, but if you look at towns like, say, around the greater Boston area, they've had their zoning in there for months. Towns with hundreds of thousands of people, why haven't they approved anyone yet? Because they made the same zoning mistakes.
Yeah.
Because they figured, well, everyone's going to try to open it wherever the zoning will fit, it'll be perfect, right? But when you take into the account the buffers, the zones, and then the banking issues with property groups not wanting to lease or sell to you, it basically eliminates almost all the properties entirely, which is why the other property owner decided to just build their own property
Yeah.
from the ground up.
Yeah.
But that would then exclude any small businesses from entering this market if you just said, well, that's okay. And so you're saying, well, we only want large corporations to be able to operate.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah, that does seem. Any other questions?
Yeah, I
you
do
got
have.
for
I have an.
Tony?
All right, you.
Yeah,
The way
away.
the way I see this, that the people that are for it, they're like, listen, it's no big deal. We got all the security. It operates just like a bank, or operates just like any other type of retail store, more or less. I mean, it just so happens that
Right.
we're selling pot. But other than that, it's the same thing. So the people that would be against it would say, well, if it's all really all the same, then what's the need for all this security? I mean, what are we afraid of that we have to have all this security in place?
So, are there requirements on the security?
So a lot of this, I can, I think that's another good question. Keep in mind, till a year ago, no one was allowed to take credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
That has changed. Actually, Massachusetts was one of the first banks. There's actually two banks now. Two of the first
Right.
banks in the country are now allowing to take debit cards and cashless transactions.
Sure.
So when you looked at places like California, Colorado, Oregon, where they didn't have this infrastructure in place, people were literally burying cash behind their house.
So,
Yeah.
are you?
Now that has all gone away because the banks here have decided to start allowing paperless transactions.
Okay.
So
So
you
now you're not
protect-
going to. So
yeah.
now you're not going to be cash. So now you're not going to be cash rich.
And imagine now you're the Cannabis Commission, right?
Yeah.
You have to draft the regulations for Massachusetts. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to borrow the regulations from other states.
Sure.
And then also at the time when they were drafting the regulation, because if you remember, this has been legal now for 2 years.
Yeah.
But at the time it was approved, there was no infrastructure to take. Everyone had to operate cash only.
I get it.
So there's these huge reserves, but now that has been completely removed.
All right. So
10 years from now, none of these restrictions will probably be in place.
well, then why, if none of these restrictions will be in place, and I get why, because you're not going to have as much cash on the facility where you needed to protect yourself before, but you're selling this to the people that are against it as, well, don't worry about it because it's a completely secure facility. But now you're telling me, oh, in 10 years you'll probably just be able to walk in there, no problem. Everybody, come on in because we're not going to have cash. So the security wasn't.
That's the beauty of the community host
The
agreement.
security, it doesn't
5
sound like the
years,
security is for the
we had to
community.
renegotiate our deal with the town and what we've done with the town.
What is in?
Before
What,
they even sign off on our submission with the state, we had to go through every issue, every traffic. If there's extra traffic, we have to consider. If there's
No, I get all that, but right now you're selling this secure facility as it's a good
well,
thing
he's
for.
not. People are.
Well, that's fine. It's being sold
It's
in
being
general
sold.
in the
Fair
general
enough. Fair
population
enough. Fair
that this is
So it
this is
so
a
it-
high
so
secure
it is
place.
A secure facility.
I
It
get
is.
it, but
And
it's
it'll
only
keep being-
but only for
It'll
you.
keep being a secure.
But only for your
If
benefit.
it does, if it doesn't become an issue, then that's something one can decide. People can
So
It
wait,
sounds like to
let-
me
let
that
me
as
ask
soon
you a
as
question
it
now.
sounds like to me
They
that
are
as soon as
still
95% of
concerned
your
about it,
sales are credit
then they
card,
can obviously keep those measures in place, and we would be more than happy to keep those measures in place.
yeah, but those measures aren't in place for the good of the community. They're in place for you to protect your money from being robbed. That's what it's there for, but that's not how it's
I
being
didn't say
sold.
that at all. I said
I know you didn't say it, but
I said that this was based. A lot of these security structures were based traditionally when it was when you could
Sure.
only do cash
right.
transactions.
I get
That's
it.
not a problem. And
Okay.
to open that up.
Right.
Now, to alleviate any additional concerns with the town, we have extra security. We do all permitting with the state. It's basically, you will see nothing but people go in, go out, get in their car, and leave.
Yep.
And it'll be monitored at all times.
Right.
So
For now.
let me ask you this.
For now.
Let me ask you this
That
question.
the Osterman Park is such a good location is because it's back deep in an industrial lot, where it's padded by a major highway and an active train track. So I know there's, look, I understand the concern for the buffer. That's why, just maybe that not, you have to sometimes look at things on a case-by-case basis, which is why they have the variance process.
Understood. I get that
Why we've
process
actually looked at
100%.
several other locations with the town, and we've been through several committees with other properties that they didn't like. This is, after several properties, this is the one that they've liked the most.
Who's they?
Which is why we've gone through unanimous votes through both the safety committee and the planning committee.
So when you talk
Doing
about
everything
they,
we can to make sure that we're going to get this right.
when you talk
will
about
get it.
they, you're talking about the town government. This is where they think that it would be a good spot. Do they support
They-
this? Do you feel that you're going to go in and you're going to get approved, or do you feel that you're going into a debate about it?
I mean, obviously, you have to go in and defend yourself, right? That's
Right.
the power of the people. Every committee is different. Nothing is given.
Fair enough.
We obviously would love that location because it's one of the safest spots in town. It's able to handle the traffic capacity like few other places in town. And it has enough square footage to have all these additional protocols that the state requests in town.
That area.
There's over 50 parking spaces.
He
there.
can't not have
That area can't handle the traffic that's there now. So to say that that's
I'm
a
glad
perfect
you guys
spot to
mentioned that,
handle the
because
traffic.
We did have a traffic report done,
Uh-huh.
and the impact that store would have,
Yeah.
only 1% on the projected growth out until
Okay.
2020.
Uh-huh.
That road's expected to go up to about 15,000 people a day.
Yeah.
We're only expecting to be 200 of that,
200.
which is why think of another place in town that can actually handle that. It's not, I think, like I said, I think this goes back to the point that we tried to force our way into town guns blazing. We have exhaustively tried to search for other viable locations, and this is by far the best and safest location for this.
It seems to me, to be honest with you, that there's so many damn rules about where you can put it that you kind of get pigeonholed into a corner. It's almost like, yeah, you can have them here, but there's nowhere to have them.
Well, listen, it's just that
Yeah,
there's an.
I think that's a good point. And if you look at some of the towns have tried to unravel the rules that they put in place. So, Boston's really struggled with it, right? So Boston's been one of the first states to do it. And if you look, they haven't, I don't even know if they have a single store open yet. We'll do it. And they don't have a single store open yet. So the state had guidelines. So the guidelines were schools K through 12, parks, I think drug development centers.
It kills
That
me.
But a skate park isn't.
With obviously relaxing those laws that you could show you mitigated it.
You can
what
sell
happens
fine
is,
scotch,
like I
but
said, no
don't
one's
you
ever
smoke
done
that
this
joint.
before. So someone suggested daycares, and when we look at the number of daycares across the state, some towns it's basically impossible. So they did 500. It basically made no property viable. So they either got rid of it or took it down to something like 50 feet.
Well, there's got to be
And I asked the public to go look at other town legislatures, especially as you move towards Boston, and that's because you can open a daycare anywhere pretty much any town, any location you want, right?
Yeah.
So it's and if it comes through during the community host agreement that we have to do something where we mitigate that issue, where there's a concern that the kids are going to go through the woods and over the train tracks and
All right.
Into an industrial park, sure, we'll do something to obviously mitigate that. We're not here to cause trouble with the community. We're
I
just
don't
here to
believe that
open a
either.
business.
Yeah,
and
I
we've done
agree with that.
everything
I don't
we
think
can
they
to try to.
cause any trouble. They're
Listen.
looking for a place to go. The people
You
said
tell-
we want one. There's nowhere to put
I
one.
get it. You're telling me that there's not from Northbridge
There's
covers.
literally, I honestly, I swear to God, go online right now and try to find one or B3 facility that actually has a parking space or isn't someone's shed. And I know
So
people
there's
aren't
nothing.
happy
So there's
about,
nothing on 146.
being these near houses. But if you look at B2 and industrial and B3, they all abut residential communities.
Mm-hmm.
And the law is from the property line to property line. So if you go on an industrial lot, that lot could be 2 miles by 2 miles square.
Understood.
But it's from the edge of that lot, so
Right.
it doesn't
See,
matter.
that's messed
So you're
up.
always
Jim.
gonna be
I'm
in
sorry, but
violation.
That's messed up. So you got to go not from the facility, but the
They-
end of this guy's
no
lot.
one knew at the time.
He
And,
could own 100
we're going
acres.
to learn, and other states are going to learn, but unfortunately, there's nothing viable, and that's if you've had hardship trying to, do everything right. That's what we're trying to do.
All right. Hey, look, I'm going to
All
tell
right.
you. Jimmy is skeptical. I am going to tell you. The people spoke. That's good enough for me. I say open your place, man, and I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate that. Like I said, we're just trying to do everything.
It seems that you are. It
Like,
seems
we
that
didn't
you
even
guys.
get enough
they're
people
going
to
through
show
all
up.
the channels.
We had to delay our vote because we have people on the zoning board to show up to give us a fair vote. So, we're waiting. We're patient. We've done everything we can. So we're just hoping that we get rewarded for staying within the line. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that come in that don't do that. But, we're just trying to do it right.
All right, my friend.
All
Well,
right.
we'll leave it at that. You can definitely have the last word on it, my friend. All right. Well, I can't say that because I'm sure me and Jim will talk about it in a minute. But
I hope you guys can keep talking about it.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you calling in, man.
Have a
That's
good one, guys.
Very,
Appreciate you
very
calling.
good move. Very good move. Thank you. I mean, see, that's what's great, though. I mean, agree, disagree, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see
yeah.
something, it just goes to show you. I mean, here you are, you're talking about something, and boom, you get the owner of the place calls right in.
I like that.
It's pretty cool, man. You got to give the guy credit for that.
I do. I have no problem with
And
that.
I
I'm
think
glad
that
he
it's
did.
absolutely insane that the guy, and this is painting a picture in my head, that we know the town government was against this, or certain factions of the town government were against this. So as this worked its way through, and as they started to, this is the law, 500 feet, and they started to rezone things, and here we are now that you can't, I mean, if you need this much footage, and you need this much of that, and you
That's
need
my
this
biggest
much of
problem
that.
with all of it, Gary. It's always trickery. It's
It is.
never what it is.
But I
Listen,
don't think it's trickery from this guy.
Of course you don't. But do you not
I think
agree?
it's trickery from the government.
Do you not agree that this is being sold to us like, oh, don't worry, people against it. We're gonna have this high security facility, blah blah blah. And are they not presenting it as if, listen, we're gonna make sure it's as safe as could be for the people in this town?
They are.
But that's
presenting it
not
that
what
way.
it was for, Gary.
That's
It's
what-
never
that's-
what it's been for. It was to save the cash from any potential
Well,
trouble.
but don't forget what
and
he
said
said, though.
in 10 years, when it's not cash anymore,
Right.
as this goes on and
But
on
Jim,
and on,
But Jim, don't forget that he said
Just
that
don't
that's,
sell it to- just
that's
don't sell me the
law,
security
though.
that
That's
way.
the law.
Don't
that he
sell
has
me
to
the-
have
don't
the security.
sell me the security
So should
that
he
way.
say it's not secure? I mean, should he not be? The law forces him to make it
disclaim
secure.
why he's securing it. Don't
Well,
say
he did.
No, well, he did
He
tonight
just
because
did.
he was
He
forced
came out
to.
and he did. He wasn't forced to. I mean, he called her of his own
that's
fruition.
fine, yeah.
He called her of his own
Okay.
fruition. He, whatever the word may be.
Gary, up until
Look,
up until I asked him that question,
look, did
I
you
was
see
under
this?
the impression. Yes, I did.
Did
I
you
was
see
under
this?
I was under. Yes, I did. I was under the impression you're going to show it to everybody, or what? You're going to
Well,
at least
I-
describe it to them.
I get an email. It comes from an anonymous email. It comes in as Fred Flintstone, and it says, Jim Barnicle photo, and it's got a big picture of Nancy Reagan. Actually, it's a smaller picture of the email, but very.
This is what happens when you have a difference of opinion with people, Gary.
See
Where's
what
my
happens?
safe space?
They're
I want a safe space.
They're shaming you, aren't they?
They're trying to.
See, by the way, folks,
I'm
let me
confident in my position.
let me
I
give you a
get
clue.
yours.
This is how disagreement should go, though, and that was my point on the thread.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't have to get to crazy levels.
Right.
Like we should be able to debate these things out and then move on.
The people would be surprised at how much we actually disagree
They would
about
be.
things, not
because
just this
well,
thing, but
because in
with
current day
things.
America, Jim, you would think that you're not allowed to be friends with someone that you disagree with because that's not allowed, right? We all have to fight each other.
I think
and then
personally,
we
I
have
think it's
to,
enhanced our
you know,
friendship, Gary.
It may have. It certainly gives us plenty to talk about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I let me find out this. Ready? You know what I do? What's your opinion on this? Why don't we? I happen to run into a few very nice fellows the other day from town that they were very for the field, the new field.
Right.
And I had come out and said that I wasn't really for the new field.
Mm-hmm.
So I've decided there's a great compromise here.
Let's hear it.
Let's get a mega grow facility to take over a portion of or some of the mill area or a big area like you're talking about of open land and construct their own. And in turn, for allowing them to come to this town, we ask them to put in the new field.
Mhm.
And they pay for it so they don't have to raise our taxes to put in the field. When are we going to start thinking like business people on this?
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't ask the guy, and I wanted to.
Well, does
I
it have
thought
to be a
about it.
grow facility, or can it be some other type of facility?
I'm just thinking grow facility is going to be a lot more profitable probably than a retail facility.
Well, I think Medway has one,
Yeah.
and the town gets like $70,000 a year for allowing it to be there.
Right. So why can't we do that on a larger scale? And I support this guy coming in,
Mhm.
and I support for no other reason than the people said come in.
Listen,
So you can't mess with all the
I
zoning
don't
and
have,
then make
I
it so
don't
they
have an
can't
issue
come
with
in.
it. I don't have an issue.
But
with
I
that.
do hear your points too. I know you hear mine, and I know I hear
Right.
yours. It's an agree to disagree. We battled over this for 3-4 years now.
In fact, we said we were going to dedicate a show to it someday.
We did, and
haven't.
here we are,
Yeah,
47
kinda.
minutes in. We dedicated a show to it. See, so don't say we don't follow through on stuff,
Right.
right? You could tell our wives. We do follow through. You
Just
know?
takes a little time.
We got an email. This is the way I am selling it compared to alcohol. That's the way. So she agrees. She's thinking of the safety aspect of it. Jim is saying the safety aspect of it is going to be gone in time. Well, but
less
don't forget one thing. You have to understand that it's in the law. So he's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't he boast about the fact that it's secure? Now, I agree with you to a degree that it's it's protected and sold that way, but it may change. But are people breaking into? Is pot more desirable than Bud Light? Or, aren't we going to eventually
to
get
your
to
average
a point?
teen? Ask that question to your average
To
teen.
your average teen, well, they might be able to hide that a little bit more. But we're talking about it's still against the law to sell it to minors, so they're going to have some way to deal with that. Let's see. Mike chimes in. There's a 3% local tax that goes to the town, and that is only the sale of retail goods. 3% local tax that goes to the town, and that is only the sale of retail goods. What I'm saying, right? Wait, hang on a second. What I'm saying is that there are absolutely, and if there aren't, then people are stupid in these towns, I gotta say, because there are companies that come into towns that do wonderful things for towns.
Mhm.
And if somebody's gonna make a great deal of profit in the town, sometimes they sweeten the pot.
They're willing to.
So why
help the
can't we
community,
get some
right.
help on, let's say, a field? Now, I was going to ask Mike, but I didn't. Have they been asked to do anything?
Right.
Because I think they should, in all honesty.
They
It's,
should. Well, they should,
something.
yeah, right.
They should do something.
Sure.
But I'm going to be on the.
Why wouldn't any other business?
I've
though?
been on the record.
If it's just like any other business,
Right.
then why wouldn't you just
Absolutely,
ask any other
because
business?
there are businesses that do things for the towns. So this business, I would think, to embrace itself into the town, should do things for the town.
But
the
is it
reason
be-
I say
is
a
it
giant
because of the
grow
type
facility,
of business that it is?
No, I think it's because the profit potential, almost like if Raytheon wanted to open up a little sublet in
Sure.
Northbridge,
Yeah.
and because of the taxes or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
they may say, hey, if you rezone this and let us do this,
Right.
then we'll do that. And the big companies do it all the time, which is why I said, why don't we talk about a big grow facility? I mean, I'm all for these shops. They want to come in. I'm going to come down and say, I hope that this passes. If there's something I got to vote on, I'm going to go vote for it. I am, because that's what the people have voted over and over and over. They want it. Let them have it. If this is the place in this particular town where they've rezoned everything, you can't frickin' do it anywhere else, then you're right. It's all baloney, and it's all up and down and left and right. I don't know. See, we got off into this whole tangent. I promised Tim, who might even be out there tonight, that I'd play some video that he sent me, which is so great that I'm going to have to put off till next
And
week.
you don't even it's no time for it?
No time for it. It's a good 5 minutes long.
What's it about?
Well, I don't want to spoil
Okay,
it.
forget.
No, it's about freedom and the Constitution. It's about somebody that made a little speech, went on about 4 or 5 minutes, and it really hit a lot of things that I love to talk about, freedom and the Constitution and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And it was almost the way I saw it was a little threatening, and it was to a chamber, to a committee. Not threatening in a way of like, I'm going to kick your butt right now, but more of a, if you continue to do these things and violate our rights, eventually,
Sure.
we're going to
Somebody's gonna
rebel
stand
back
up and
against
rebel,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So, and that came from Tim. Tim, from, if you have been around a long time, you remember Tim O'Gary, email. Tim was really the founder of the Freedom Network.
Yeah.
I was just the loudmouth.
Yeah.
He founded it. And then I got really mad at the government here, and we had to move the show up here, which I don't think he was happy about. I'm sorry, Tim, but since then he's moved down to the Carolinas.
Right, okay,
He's
so
enjoying
he's
the
fine.
beautiful weather.
Yeah.
He posts pictures on Facebook about the
I
weather.
wouldn't know. He blocked me long ago.
He did?
And then unblocked me when I said something on this show. He unblocked me just for me to get him riled up again and block me again.
Well, you do have that ability, Jim. I don't block you because I know you. But if people don't know you that much,
I might be blocked.
you could be blocked.
All right,
I don't know. I don't know. But I just let them do what they want to do. The people want it. Let them have it. You can't rezone the whole town so no one can have it. To me, just let it be. And I know this person's going to have a petition, and then someone else will have a petition. Everyone will have a petition, so it'll be another thing that the people voted on that they can't really have. Because the way the law works, they have to have X amount of square footage, and they have to have X amount of space, and they have to have X amount
Well,
of
listen,
this.
they're going
and
for their variance. They're going for their variance right now, and it'll either get approved or it'll get shot down. What's
And
the matter with that?
I think that's great.
Okay.
I think
Do you
that's
think
great.
they're just going to give up, or are they going to try another angle after that? I mean, there's probably endless angles you can approach something.
I
in.
guess so, but how hard should it be to open a legal business in a town?
Well, listen, there might be just enough people that don't want it in this town, some in a position where they can help make that happen or make that not happen.
Kind of like, here, let me aggravate everybody now. Kind of like Trump gets elected president without getting the popular vote.
Yeah, yeah, well,
One of them kind. It's an electoral thing.
it's an electoral thing.
So
but
you're
there's a
going to
reason
use
for
that? There is. And I agree with it,
Right.
actually. I agree with the electoral college. Trump should be the president right now.
Right.
He won. He
Yeah.
should be the president. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, The majority spoke, but then again, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a representative republic. So I guess if you can get one of these reps in your pocket, you're all set.
Well,
They could just
that might be
redo some zoning.
that might be the next step.
That might be the next step, but
Line
this
a
guy's
pocket.
trying to do the right thing.
I understand.
And
I
I'm not
understand.
saying
He's trying to
anyone's
get a
lying in
variance
anyone's
because
pocket.
because
but-
he can't find a place within the guidelines, so he's
No,
trying to get
and
a
in all
variance. I get
reality,
it.
from the indications that I see, and I see them
Yeah.
here and there, I get little tidbits from people within.
Yeah.
There's plenty of loose links in your ship, let me tell you. It looks like this will probably pass.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it'll
probably
pass.
will.
I
Yeah.
think it'll pass.
And I don't have.
And
a-
I think the
don't have
guy's a
whole lot of
stand-up
issue
guy.
with it, Gary.
Yeah, I think the guy's a stand-up guy. I don't think that he's here to open up some seedy place where people are. I don't
Sure.
think that's his deal. I think what he wants to
don't
do
think
is
so, but-
monopolize on a new business that's a huge potential for him to make money,
Right.
be a capitalist.
I understand.
That's
I
what
get
I
it.
think he
not
wants.
not a problem, but not. There's seedy people everywhere.
Sure
And I'm
there
not
are.
going to say that there's more seedy people that smoke marijuana.
No.
I'm not going to say that, but there are seedy people.
Of course, there's
That
seedy
smoke
people that
marijuana.
smoke
Okay.
marijuana. There's seedy
Alright.
people that do anything. They
Alright.
talk on cell phones. They drink Miller Lite. They,
Well, yeah, no, I get it.
you know,
I
they
get it.
drink,
But now they're going to
Captains
But now they'll probably be a few more seedy
They may
people
come in.
driving into
They may
town
come into town.
because there happens to be a place.
And let me ask you a question. So they come into town to buy these seedy people.
Yeah.
I,
And then they pull out of
The
they
seedy
pull out of
people
that
buy-
facility.
but the
and
seedy
then
people
they
buy
park
their
they park
park.
right next to the skate park.
That's
Because
where
you
they're gonna
know,
park.
if
No,
I'm
they
gonna
park right out here.
if I'm going to
Come on, let's be
stereotype,
honest,
if I'm
right?
going to
They're not going to the
stereotype,
skate
then
park.
you know, skate park kids, big marijuana smokers.
Oh, James. Well, you know, what were you saying before that I was just going to comment before we had to go, but you blew me away with that one. I didn't
really mean
Oh
it.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. We'll move on. I was going to say, do you really think that the seedy pot smokers,
Right.
okay, if we're going to go down this
no,
road,
are
the
buying
ones
it there?
buying it there that
Probably
are
not.
paying probably 2 times
Probably
at
not.
least the
Yeah,
amount that
probably
they can
not.
still get it on the black market?
Sure, I get
Nah,
it.
they go into their buddies and their little
yeah.
places and doing whatever they got to do.
I get
and
it.
they're getting it.
Yeah, no, I
Why would anyone pay $300-400 for something, especially a seedy somebody,
Right.
that could pay $150 or $200 for it? So that's where the reality is.
You're getting
All right,
tapped.
I'm getting tapped. I'm out. All right, folks. Remember, freedom is freedom. You got to keep at it. You got to work at it. All opinions always welcome. Jim, thanks for being
Thank you,
on.
Gary.
Thank you, folks. We will be back next week.